All right, let's do it.
So,
Ooh, I think we're live.
okay, yay. So my name is Robin. I own Robin's Healing, and I'm here to do a interview with Whitley Jane, who is a transformational coach and just in general a beautiful person. I would invite you to share this on all platforms, wherever. So Whitley, you can do that as well. And if people have questions as well, don't hesitate to ask. So I will keep an eye on the chat too. And Whitley, you can take it away.
Cool. Awesome. Hey, everyone. As Robin said, my name is Whitley Jane, and I am here today just to share my story, share a little bit of who I am and what I do, and how it can help you in your own journey. So today is so I'm a transformational coach. Should probably start with that. So I'm a transformational coach, and what I do is I help female entrepreneurs, particularly coaches and healers, take their side hustle and turn it into a full-time business. So I work with a lot of women who are change makers, women who are really passionate about bringing their own gifts and abilities to the forefront and really creating a sustainable living out of doing so and impacting lives so that they can experience freedom, time, abundance, money, and all of the amazing things that we love to experience in this world as entrepreneurs, as heart-centered entrepreneurs. So I help women with that, and I absolutely love it. It's my passion. And what got me started with that is a little bit of my own journey, like my own story is where my why stems from. And today's like a special day for me because today's my birthday. I thanks. I have officially left my 20s and I turned 30 today.
Wow.
And yeah, and it's really wild, Robin, because like I was laying in bed this morning and I was like just kind of like reflecting on my life and where I'm at today. And like many of you guys, I'm sure you have those moments too where you just like you wake up and you're like, wow, like look at where I'm at today. And like you have those like moments of reflections of your past and like to your present, and everything that you've experienced up until this point. And that's sort of what I was like doing this morning. I was laying in bed and I was just like, oh my gosh, like today I'm 30 and like a whole decade has gone by. And I remember like 10 years ago when I had that exact kind of like reflection of like, wow, I'm like leaving my teenage years and I'm going to be turning 20 today. And that was like 10 years ago. And I'm just like sitting here and I'm just like, today, I'm like, my life is barely recognizable in comparison to who that girl was 10 years ago. And it was just in my mind, I was just like, wow, like it's so crazy, like what can happen, what you can achieve in 10 years in just one decade. And I think we often overestimate what we can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what we can achieve in 10 years. And this morning I was just like having one of those reflections, you know, and like how many of you have had those like moments where you're like, wow, holy crap. And like when I think back to that girl 10 years ago, I live in Toronto, Ontario now. And 10 years ago, I lived in Toronto, Ontario. And 10 years ago, I was just like in a completely different place in my life. I was a young mom. I had my first child at the age of 17. So I had to grow up really fast. But like during that time in my life, it was so different, Robin. It was like I was just not the person I am today. It was very, you know, alone and isolated, and I had a lot of depression and not a lot of confidence. I had no direction in my life. I was a single, well, I became a single mom, but I was in a very abusive relationship at the time. I had no like self-worth. I had no self-love for who I was. I was just in a really, really like lost place in my life at that time. And I remember it was my 20th birthday and just thinking to myself, like, this can't be all there is to my life. And I just remember like saying to myself, wow, Willie, like you've been in this place for a few years now. And it's like, you could spend another 10 years. Like, are you willing to let like 10 years go by and still be in this place, still be in this like dark, very like lost place? Or worse, in a body bag, because again, I was in a really, really bad relationship at that time. And I just remember like thinking that on my 20th birthday, and I was completely alone and I was in a really big city. I'm not from Toronto, so it wasn't home for me at the time. And I just remember like saying to myself, I have to make a change. I need to do something different for myself. And it started with one small, courageous decision, Robin. And as many of you who are watching, I'm sure that in your life, you've had to make courageous decisions. And for me, it was a courageous decision to leave the relationship that I was in because it really had broke me. And I just completely lost myself in that. And so, with that one courageous decision, led to me on this journey of creating more courageous decisions over time. And so when I think about that young girl who was 20 years old, living in this small, dark, dingy bachelor apartment in the city of Toronto, with her life just torn and like in shambles and like literally at my rock bottom, um, I think about how that one courageous decision led me to putting me on a path of finding myself and regaining my own like personal power back and really pursuing a path that was filled with passion and filled with like fulfillment, I should say. And from that, I moved back home. I'm originally from New Brunswick, and I moved back home with my little girl. And I put myself through college. I went to business school. I excelled in that. I went on to be in marketing for various places. And then I was like, the whole plan was to become an entrepreneur. And little did I know that this like path was going to lead me on this like self-discovery, personal development, and really open me up to where I am today. But when I think back on that girl that I was and everything that I had gone through, I knew that there were other women out there who were struggling, who were going through what I had gone through. And I wanted to be that light for them. I wanted to be a leader and really create something that allowed them to believe that there is more and that they can overcome that adversity, that they can overcome their obstacles or the challenge or the situation that they're experiencing. And I went on to create a women's networking group in New Brunswick. And from there, I just like completely immersed myself into this journey of like entrepreneurship and in self improvement, development, and just like really invested in myself in so many ways. Um, and so, like, over the past decade, I say to myself, you know, especially this morning, my life is completely unrecognizable compared to who that girl was 10 years ago. Because the girl I am, the woman I am today is, you know, I'm confident. I love who I am. And I've really like stepped into my role as a leader, as an entrepreneur, as an advocate for other women. And it's just like I'm experiencing so much joy and abundance in my life today. Um, I get to help transform other women's lives today. And I get to do this like as a for a living. Like I'm like, this is amazing. I get to help other women go like I get to help other women accomplish their dreams. And that's what I get to like wake up to do every day. And 10 years ago, I just wouldn't have thought that was possible. And so it's really been like this journey of growth and like this spiritual journey as well. And just like it's incredible to think how much you can do and how much you can accomplish by just making one small courageous decision at a time. And it's taken, multiple courageous decisions over these 10 years to get to where I am today. But it's just like, wow, if I can do it, you can do it, kind of thing. And so that's really where my why stems from. And it's why I do what I do today. It's why I wake up and I push myself outside my comfort zone constantly. Um, yeah. And so that's really like my big reflection today as I like
Amazing.
leave my 20s and enter my 30s. So yeah.
Okay, I have a question. So you kind of said you had one major like courageous decision. You just kind of like woke up one morning and you're like, this is happening. What was that
Mm.
decision for you? Was it like changing your life? Was it going on medication? Was it what was like the big moment for you?
Yeah. The big moment for me was choosing to leave the relationship that I had been in
Right.
for those like 4 years. I had been in a abusive relationship, and it really started with that because I could not do anything else without taking myself outside of that situation. And from there, it was other small, courageous decisions from there.
And how did that like were you like living with this person and you had to kick them out, or like how, like what kind of courage did you have to build up? Was it speaking your truth? Was it coming up with a game plan?
Good question. It really wasn't coming up with a game plan because in the past I had tried to come up with a game plan many times. And when you're in that kind of situation, it just doesn't pan out like that. It doesn't. Um, it was really just like having the courage in choosing in deciding that I was going to follow through with that. And yeah, and I left. I just left.
That's amazing. So yeah, I'd say that like the majority of people that are in those unhealthy relationships, they often will stay knowing that it's wrong, or they will
Mm-hmm.
get out of it and then they'll get back into it. So that's amazing that you permanently stayed out of it, because I do work with clients myself where I hear this often because they get a little bit lonely, because it takes some time to heal and they're used to having someone else, even if they weren't a good support system, that they had someone in their life. So they'd rather,
Mm-hmm.
like, they have a lot of fear of being alone, I find, because a lot of times people don't know how to live in that independence, right? And they want to be like in
Yes.
codependent
Yeah.
relationships, or like they were feeding them somehow, right? Like you were with that person for a reason. So would you say that, do you know why you were with that person in the first place, just from like a spiritual standpoint?
Mm. Yeah, and yeah, and I think that that's something that is very real too, is the fact that like even though we know that these situations are unhealthy for us, or like they're like, slowly killing us inside, it's like we still stay. And I think that um there is a level of something that we lack within ourselves. And for a small few moments, that person is gives us that thing that we're lacking. And once they give it to us and we have it, we're like, oh my gosh, yes. And then it's like ripped away from us. It's a very much like a push pull type of scenario. And so, really, the best way that I can describe it on my own experience is like I was lacking things within myself, and I depended on that other person to give me what I felt like I couldn't give myself.
That's so well said. I love that. Because obviously you're a sensitive person, so you're very sensitive to the people that you're around and your environment.
Mm.
So, did you feel like you had to change a lot of friends and change like even relationships with family after that?
Yeah, I feel like with regard to the relationship, for me, it wasn't so much I had to change friendships or anything like that. If anything, I became closer with my family because when I was in the relationship, I became isolated from my friends, isolated from my family, to hide the abuse, to hide the shame, and all of that came with it. But once I left it, I soon realized that I had a much bigger support system than I thought I did. And to kind of like build on top of that, as I've gone through my journey as well, Robin, relationships, people, friendships, they come and go in and out of your life. And as you change, your outer environment begins to change.
I love,
And one
I love that.
and one thing that, like, when you were talking about earlier, and a quote came to mind, I can't remember exactly who wrote the quote, but it goes like, you can't heal in the same environment that broke you.
Oh,
And
I love that.
and so if you're in this environment, like, and you're trying to heal, you're trying to move on with your life, you have to be willing to let go of the people, of the things that had a part in you having to heal, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And what about forgiveness? Because it seems like that you would have had to have done a lot of forgiveness work, like towards yourself and other people. So how did you approach your forgiveness work? Is that a part of your practice now, like to help other people with that?
Yeah, I love that you asked this question, because I feel like that is such a huge piece that it's often one of the heaviest bags that people will carry around within the junk that they're dragging throughout their life. And it's definitely a huge thing that I work on with my clients, is identifying the things, the people, the experiences that they're still holding emotional attachment to, holding that, like, giving energy to. And what we'll do is we'll go deep in that. And I'm very intuitive, and so it's very easy for me to identify those blocks for my clients. But we'll go deep. We'll go deep into what has caused it, and then giving them tools and exercises that will help them into releasing that energy, and to be able to truly, like, forgive themselves and the other person involved in the situation. And so this is something that took me many, many years to be able to embody for me before I went on to teach it to others. But yeah, like, I would hold on to things, and especially with my first relationship, the abusive one. It was like I had so much anger and resentment, and so many, like, harsh emotions toward that. And it took me a lot of years to be able to forgive. It took me a lot of years to forgive. But what I realize is that if I hadn't gone through that experience with that person, if that person hadn't played that role in my life, I would not have been able to stand in my shoes and to relate to other women in the way that I'm able to relate to them. I wouldn't be able to teach. I wouldn't be able to coach. I wouldn't be able to look at life through the lens that I'm able to look at life, the way that I do, because if I had not gone through that experience, I just wouldn't be the person I am today. And so what I can do is actually, instead of like saying, like, that experience happened, yeah, it happened, and sure, it sucked, it was hurtful, it was emotional, but at the end of the day, it's like I was able to take so many good things away from that. I was able to, like, walk away from that being a more empowered woman, being a more strong woman, and someone who can actually, like, it's just built me into who I am today. And so the way that I, like, look at things is, you can either let things break you, or you can let them make you.
I love that. So it just feels like I'm just getting the energy of resilience, that you've built up a lot of resilience now to this point, like where you've let go of resentment, that you can identify, like, drama from a million miles away. And you just have taught yourself that what you deserve and what you want. And I love that, because I mean, everybody has different desires in life, right? Some people want to be in that unhealthy relationship and they're actually content with that. They're controlled and they like to be controlled, and that's okay. But I like that but when it comes to self-love, we all deserve the same thing, right? Like we make lifestyle choices. So it kind of feels like self-love's a huge part of your, like, what you promote, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I teach women, the business strategies and the tools because that's what I'm good at. Like those are my strengths. Just being able to do marketing, social media stuff, like all of that stuff is like what I teach and I can help women with. But at the end of the day, we're also going into those deep areas. We're also like shining light on the blind spots that are keeping them mentally and emotionally blocked from being able to like go to that next level, whether it's in their life or in their business. And like quite often, what I find with my work is that sure, I'm helping women take their side hustle to that next level and turning it into a full-time business. But what often happens is like they're also learning how to step into their own authentic power. They're learning how to harness their own intuition. They're learning how to show up unapologetically as themselves and building that confidence. And what happens is that not only overflows into their business, but it also overflows into the other areas of their life, their love life, their family life, their health. And so really, and that's why I call myself a transformational coach, because I teach business, but at the same time, what I'm teaching is so much deeper, and it transforms so many areas of themselves in their life.
I love that you explained it like that, because I've always wanted to know what is a transformational coach, because I know there's, like you said, business coaches and love coaches and all that stuff, but that makes more sense to me
Mm-hmm.
because I don't really know what you do. I have an idea based on your personality, but it makes more sense to me that you help people kind of like upgrade and shift their life in general. You just happen to have a lot of knowledge in the business area and want to help other women similar to yourself that match your vibration. But because you've been through so much in the past, you kind of take your life experiences and also help women like kind of start a new life for themselves and like start fresh, if that's um, finances or relationships or whatever. So that makes more sense to me. That's cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. And when it comes to, do you feel like in life, I don't know why this is just coming up, like that you've been tested a lot, like that you've had to really overcome, um, like a lot of stuff.
Oh my gosh. Yes, girl. Some days I'm just like, seriously, did my soul actually opt to like have all of these experiences and all these tests? Because I'm just like, when are you gonna stop? I'm like, can I have a break yet?
Mm.
But yeah, no, I totally believe that my soul definitely came here to experience a lot of like challenging things, but it's also made me, I also feel like it's sped up the process of like my own awakening at a younger
Mm.
age, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you're saying like where you were at, like, because when did you have your child?
When I was 17.
Holy, yeah. So
Yeah.
exactly. So even that would be a bit of a test for a 17-year-old, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
to me, that's probably where you started your bigger decision making,
Yeah,
not not
absolutely.
later. And then it seems like you've just had a lot of transition energy so far in those 13 years, right? Because it's like, do you feel like, is it hard for you to get comfortable in one spot because of your ability to help others and teach others? Do you know what I
What do
mean?
you mean? What do you
Like
mean?
that, because there's always this like change and transformation in your life. Do you find that it's
Mm-hmm.
like you almost like just when things get a little bit kind of comfortable, it gets uncomfortable again?
Oh goodness, yeah. Yeah, 100%. Like it feels like, so at one point when I first started doing this work, Robin, I was really helping women identify what their passion was. like identifying what their purpose was. So at this point, they didn't even have a business. They didn't even really know what it was that they wanted to do, but they had an inkling. And so like I used my superpowers to really like hone in and pull out what their purpose was, their passion, and then like giving them like the roadmap to taking the next step with that. But as I up level and grow in my own journey, I find that the people I help also change. And so right now, who I serve is totally different um, in many ways as to who I helped a few years ago. So now, like it's like I'm solely helping just the spiritual entrepreneurs, the coaches, the healers go from being like the side hustle where they're feeling stuck and overwhelmed and frustrated on like how do I make this like my full-time job? How do I create consistent revenue in my business and I'm attracting the right clients and doing it in a way where I know how to get clients and not overworking myself. That's the type of person that I'm working with. But because I have all the other past experience, of the things that I did before and then my own personal experience, I'm able to like really go deep into doing like the inner work, the mindset work, to helping them release all the blocks and in the junk and completely move the junk out of the way so that when they're showing up, turning their business into a full-time business, they're able to execute and do it a lot easier without all that junk in the way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm just curious because I'm interested in stuff that you're doing as well, and I'm sure lots of other people are. So, but when you're saying like you create a roadmap and like you help them with this and that, I'm just curious like what techniques and stuff do you use? Like I don't really know what creating a roadmap really means.
Mm. So basically, like what I mean by creating a roadmap is really creating a solid plan so that you're not just like throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping and seeing what sticks and what, right? So instead, because a lot of times, like, and I've been there where I'm like, okay, this is what I want to do. This is who I want to help. How do I do it? And I'm like trying all the different things because let's face it, we have social media, we have the internet, like we have so much stuff online accessible to us that there's so much noise out there and we're so bombarded with let's try this, let's try that, and it's just like it gets overwhelming. And what happens is our focus is in like too many directions, we're trying too many things. But the other thing that I've learned as well, Robin, is that because beneath all of that, beneath the strategy and the tools and the tactics, there's a lot of junk going on in the back of our minds. We got a lot of doubt, we have a lot of limiting beliefs, we have a lot of triggers, and what that causes is a lot of self-sabotage. And so sometimes we're like, oh, I can't get clients, but really it doesn't necessarily come down to what's the right strategy for me to get clients. It really comes down to what's your belief around getting and keeping those clients. What's your belief around success? What's your belief around money? And so I marry the two. I really build out that roadmap by giving them simplified tools to build their business that is aligned to them, that feels good, that empowers them. So after they work with me, they can go on to continue to build that momentum and growth without me. And then I marry it with the mindset stuff. I marry it with that inner work stuff, because a lot of coaches and healers, they've done so much inner work on themselves. They're like, okay, I'm done doing the inner work. I just want to like build my business. But they too have blind spots. They still have those blind spots. And as their coach, I really shine the light on those blind spots. And what we do is we work together through that roadmap to get them to where they want to be.
Okay, that makes way more sense. So I like, because you're obviously you're really great at, like you said, just identifying where people's blocks are. Because like you said, a lot of people, if they knew how to get there, they would already be doing it. So, but it
Right.
also seems like you're super supportive, but like organizing their mind a bit better and like, but working with them and not telling them what to do. And
Mm-hmm.
then actually kind of, it sounds like maybe holding them accountable a little bit. So if you have a package or something that they can, then come back and keep going on like their progress and like realigning their next move. Is that how it kind of works?
Yeah. So to give you an example, like I had a client who was, I had a client who was very like stuck in terms of how they were like generating consistent revenue and getting consistent, like the right clients. And so as we dug in a little bit deeper, we found out that she was offering like one-off sessions. So instead of having like a program or packages, she was just like kind of offering one-off sessions. And I was like, oh, okay, well, there's like your tactical problem right there.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was we looked at what her offer was, and we created a really, really good offer that allowed her to create a package. So instead of like having, okay, you're going to sell something in an hourly rate, just a
Mm-hmm.
one-time session. Instead, what we did was we really honed in on who her ideal client was. So getting super clear on that was huge. And then looking at how to create the perfect offer for that client, and then allowing her to build out a package that allowed for a higher revenue stream, but also that client gets to work with her longer than one time, allowing her to really showcase the benefits to her client. And so the client got an even better result working with her through a series of more than just one time throughout that package, and really got the benefits of working with her. And so at the end of the day, it created an increased revenue. It also allowed for her to gain a better like customer rapport, and in that those testimonials as well. So that was one thing logistically with her business. Now the other thing, when we looked a little bit deeper into that, she had a lot of fear around what to charge. And so what was
Mm-hmm.
happening was she was undercharging. And so we had to go in and do some mindset work on releasing some of those blocks in terms of how much money she thought she could earn. And once we paired the two, Robin, it was like she
Yeah.
just took right off.
It sounds like to me you're almost doing a little bit of like business psychology.
Yeah.
Like because it's a nice pair because you're
Mm.
not just super logical, like you said, you're doing the intuitive work. Now, is it only like are you only offering this coaching to, like you said, healers and business owners, or can it be just because there are going to be people watching that aren't those people, but will you still work with people who are just struggling with like an addiction or self-love?
That's a really good question. Right now, currently, I only work with coaches and healers
Mm-hmm.
right now. But I love that question because I have other products that I've had before that help that particular type of client, I should say. So it's something where it's like right now I've stepped into the role of serving these business clients,
Mm-hmm.
but I do have prior things that can help those people who might be in certain areas of their own journey that could help them for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. No, it's funny because I'm actually kind of transitioning right now as well, where I was working with a lot of people with mental health issues, but similar to yourself. But as I transition, I'm changing who I'm attracting, and I think we kind of go through stages with with that, like you said. So now I'm getting more into the business entrepreneurs, people who are really want to change and aren't afraid to change, or
Right, right.
people who are bold. That's my word. So have you worked a lot on like the law of attraction? Is that a part of your practice? Just curious.
Yeah, 100% law of attraction. I feel like that definitely like changed my perspective on a lot in life. And so, I mean, you can call it the law of attraction, call it like whatever. And I really harness that is what you focus on expands, like attracts like. And
Mm,
that's one area too, is like that's how I choose to live my life.
mm,
But also I help really empower my clients to utilize, I guess, like quote unquote, the law of attraction. Like I had a client who was like really, she had she was being paid for a photo shoot for the first time. And there was a lot of fear around it. and she was procrastinating on getting things together. And I said, what's going on here? What's happening below the surface right now? And we worked through it, and it turned out like she had a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, because she was being paid for something that she used to just like have the passion for, and she never got paid for. So there's some worthy blocks around it. And I just said, okay, I want you to focus on the best outcome. I want you to focus on the desired outcome of you going into this photo shoot, this paid photo shoot. And it's because she was really focusing on all the things that could go wrong. Like, what if, what if, what if? And it was really like taking her in this like downward, sorry, had a call coming through. It really like was taking her in this downward spiral. And so what we did was we shifted her focus on, I want you to envision the best outcome possible. And every time that those fears or those doubts come up for you, shift your focus on the best desired outcome. And what happened was she, for one, felt so much better. That anxiety, that worry was like left her. And two, she emailed me and she was just like, oh my gosh, best like photo shoot. Everything went amazing. And it was really just like shifting. And again, I guess like using a little bit of like the law of attraction, if you will, and that energy.
I love that. So if we were to do a little exercise together, like, is that something you typically would do in a session? Like to visualize, like to get somebody to just sit and start thinking about that? Or would you prompt them with some questions? Or how do you want to, can you just show us a little something that you
Sure. Sure. So one thing that's really huge with when I start to work with clients is, like I said earlier, it was like, it's all about clearing the junk out of the way so that we can have a clear runway to executing that roadmap. So the big thing is getting clear on the destination. So that's one thing I would ask anyone right now, all of you who are watching, get really clear on the destination of where you want to be. So maybe it's something you're desiring in 3 months from now, 6 months from now, maybe even a year from now. So whatever feels the best for you, and you can do this right now, or you can come back to this later, but really just like close your eyes and feel into that and just choose the thing that is like resonating with you the very, very most. So maybe it's something in 1 year from now, and in 1 year from now, you want to be, feeling your healthiest. Maybe 1 year from now, you want to be fully showing up in your business, and that is your main income stream. Maybe you want to be stepping into the thing that you're passionate about, and you want to empower other people or help others in some sort of way. So I invite you to go to that place right now and envision exactly what does it look like for you in 1 year? What does your life look like? Who are you like? What's it like all around you? Where do you live? Who are the people around you? And just thinking about like, what does it look like with your finances? What does it look like with your health? And what does it look like with your business or your passion, hobby that you're going to pick up and pursue? And maybe you want to step out more. Maybe you want to be more visible online on social media. What does that look like? So really, really getting clear on what that looks like, feeling the emotions, the feelings that are associated with that.
It's so much better when somebody guides you through this than doing it on your own, because as you're prompting me, it's making me like be able to visualize instead of me having to prompt myself. It's nice to have somebody else trigger some visions. Does that make sense? And that's why I think working on teams like this is so magical. So I imagine you're having lots of success stories, because it is so powerful to have like somebody supporting you with your future visions too, right? Instead of telling you, be present, just enjoy life, but to actually feel safe to be futuristic and not apologetic, I guess, like to just not be afraid to go for it, like a little bit bigger and a little bit more versus
yes,
people saying,
absolutely.
no, like stay in your stay where you are because we don't like changes, stuff like that, because sometimes
Robin,
yeah.
it's so important for us to have people in our lives who can hold that space for us, for to hold that space for our dream, and to be able to push us when we can't push ourselves, to be able to
Yes.
believe in ourselves, to be
Mhm.
able to believe in us when we can't believe in ourselves in those moments. And I've had coaches, and I've had so many coaches over the past couple of years, who've helped me through my journey. Even like close friends, like my best friend Sherry Brown Photography. She's been a huge piece in where I am today too, because of her support and her ability to be able to like hold that safe space for me. My business coaches, other coaches who I've worked with. Um, it's very incredible to know and to be able to see how much and how far you can go when you have somebody pushing you. We have that supportive person in your space, in your corner. And I just think there's something powerful about that.
I love that you chose this for a career because I feel like you're just going to advance and advance and advance until you just, I feel like you're just going to keep going. I don't think you're going to stop. That's awesome. So is it your goal to help, like, what is your vision or your goal, I guess, for yourself, but also for your business? Is it to help as many people as you can,
Mm-hmm.
to like be able to like vacation all the time while you have other people helping people for you? What is it?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and thank you for asking. Um, did that come through?
Yeah, I heard you.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I can't even see you.
Oh, okay,
So
okay.
don't worry about it. I'm delayed.
So the vision that I have for my business is, it's funny because it's like I see this empire. That's what I envision, is like this empire of like impacting lives. So it's like I've definitely, as a leader visionary, I think into the future. And so for me, it's really about, I have a vision of creating an online academy, so an academy for women. And this academy for women is really going to be that transformative place for women, on their journey from, you know, broken to trying to find themselves, to okay, I have a passion, I feel something, like there's more in purpose, and then pursuing it and building it and really taking these women along the journey and really stepping into their power, their authentic power, but into their role as leaders. Because I just believe that there's so many of us here that are meant to be leaders in the world and
Mm,
to spark change in the lives of others. And my job as one of those leaders is to, help others leaders see that and then step into that. So the big vision for my business is to really just keep leveling up and doing that and doing it globally, and then being able to give back and you
mm.
know, donate money to organizations in places that really help the globe.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
See,
yeah.
that's the kind of stuff that I feel like is coming on here and worth sharing because I find people invest in people that want to continue to put forward so that
Mm,
they know when they're giving you $2,000 that that $2,000 isn't going into your um, it's okay if it's your vacation fund, but that you're reinvesting back into things to help more people, right? So I
yeah.
think that that's really great, and that you focus on the things that you value, because that shows that you're going to make sure that other people are focusing on things that they value.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
like you're working with women obviously because you've had your own experience, and even though I know that there are a lot of men out there that are in abusive relationships because of women, um,
Mm-hmm.
lots of other types of relationships too.
Yeah.
But it's like I know that there are a lot of men out there that need a lot of support, that could really benefit from you. But I also think that it's amazing that you're choosing women because that's what you're passionate about. And we have different people that do different things, and we don't have to like feel badly if we're not helping men either, you know what I mean? If somebody asks
Right,
you for
right.
help, that you can say I'm really sorry, but then you can probably refer that person to somebody and
Mm-hmm.
help a friend out too. So I love that.
Yeah, and that's one thing too that I want to like just share with everybody too, because oftentimes we as like empaths, as change makers, visionaries, leaders, you know, we want to help the world, we want to help everybody. But the
Mm.
reality is like we can't help everybody. You know, pick the person, pick the people that you feel the most connected to, the most relatable to, and that you just feel like the most fulfilled to helping. And chances are, by you helping them, you're going to help others step into the role to helping the other people that you can't help. So even
Mm.
though it's like what you just said, it's like I help particularly just women, I'm going to go on to help women who are going to step into the role to helping all of the other people that I don't necessarily help. Does that make
Mm.
sense? It's like a ripple effect.
It's a contagious energy. It's going
Yeah.
back to all the stuff that you've already been saying about like that positive equals positive, and just that when people can identify with their roadblocks, that they're more likely to get what they want like more quickly. So instead of seeing it as a year from now, you can maybe have it tomorrow, and that it's just really their mindset towards how they're looking at things. Because when you worked with me, very, very briefly, but I can't tell you how much our quick conversation was helpful, because you were like, okay, why don't you do an ask questions on Wednesdays after you do like, well, I'm doing it after my interviews at 1 p.m. here with you. And
Yeah.
then everybody knows that. And you said, just do it for the month of November. So I held myself accountable with a time frame with not too much pressure. I'm like, that's perfect, because now there's consistency. Everybody knows what I'm doing. They're not messaging me with all their stuff. They're just like, okay, I'm saving my questions for Wednesdays at 2:30, and I'm getting lots of positive feedback. It makes me feel like more structured, and I can
Mm.
actually market myself more. But it was something so small that I was like, oh, I want to be in charge of when I go online, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's like, well, it's not, sometimes there are a lot of people that I could help more people by doing it that way. So it was just like such a small thing. But then I'm like, well, if I like this for November, I could do this for December. Right. And that's
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
like assessing, and it's been going so well. So thank you
That's
for that.
amazing. You're so welcome. And I see like you're showing up and like it's awesome. And the content you're putting out too, Robin, is amazing. So
Thank
good
you.
job.
So when it comes to you and your services, your packages, your new thing that you're promoting, what do you have going on there?
Well, I'm so happy that you asked because I actually am offering a free masterclass coming up on December the 6th. So just under 2 weeks. And so it's my side hustle to full-time biz masterclass. So it's completely free and it's going to be hosted live. I'm really excited about it because it's like just stepping up and stepping into my role as a fellow change maker and really helping entrepreneurs get unstuck and like take out that overwhelm and to identify where like their blocks are and helping them move forward, because it's like you're being of no service to anybody by choosing to stay stuck, by
Mm.
choosing to just go in circles, spin your wheels, chase your tail. And I get it. I've been there and it's so frustrating. It's so overwhelming and it can get so discouraging too. Um, so I just want you to know that you don't have to stay there and that there is a way out of that. And that's why I'm offering this masterclass. So I'm really excited. It's really going to help you identify the things that are keeping you blocked. And we're going to talk about some things that are going to help you move forward in your business. So, kind of like an example, when I was talking about a past client where we looked at where she was doing like one-off sessions and
Mm-hmm.
we created a package for her to generate like consistent income. So looking at ways where you can start to create that consistency, and bringing in some strategies so that you can begin to build revenue consistently in your business with the right clients. I can't stress that enough, with the right soul clients as well.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so in the masterclass, that will be covering all of those things, and hopefully you're going to walk away, and not hopefully, like if you show up and you take notes and you listen, um, and interact, you're definitely going to walk away with some amazing action steps to start implementing that in growing your business.
Awesome. So it's December 6th. At what time?
Yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So that would be 9 p.m. my time. Just curious.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that's I want to join. And so you're doing that, is it over Zoom?
It is. So it's over Zoom.
Okay.
Um, yeah. Just trying to
And
think if there's like any other small details that I left out there. I don't
and
think so.
and the master class is kind of like you kind of introducing yourself or what you do to people and actually giving them some tidbits of information, but also like actually doing some work with them.
Yeah, yeah. So I love to teach, like I love to teach. That's my jam. But I also believe in giving tangible action steps to take away and actually implement because you can learn all you want, but until you actually do and apply the learning, it's kind of useless. So 100% you're going to have some action steps to walk away with to implement in your business right away to start helping you generate that consistent revenue in taking you to a full-time business.
Amazing. And then you'll be, um, so you're giving kind of an example of what you do in a session, or do you have another program coming up, or how, like, do you do packages? How do you work your stuff?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. So I have a 6-month private coaching program that I offer to my clients. And basically what we do is during that whole 6 months, it's a very deep dive into their business, into themselves. And I just really walk them through this process, through this journey of going from the side hustle to full-time business. Yeah, so like we do a whole deep dive into who their client is, getting clarity, making sure that everything is in alignment. We work on the mindset stuff so that they have that confidence to execute on the business strategies. There's a lot to it. I can't go into everything right now,
Right.
Robin. There's a
Yeah.
lot to it, but
Yeah.
essentially they'll walk away with that confidence to leave in their full-time job or whatever it is and going full-time in their business.
That's awesome. So do you do one-on-one sessions now with people?
I do not. I don't do one-on-one sessions. I do it within my coaching program.
Okay. So we'll make sure that all that information is in there so people can look you up and sign up
Mm.
for all that.
And the
Amazing.
other thing too is at the masterclass, like if anybody has questions about working with me, sign up for the masterclass, come to the masterclass, get a feel of like my teaching style, my coaching style. And then at the end, you'll have an opportunity to be able to learn more about how you can work with me.
Awesome. And so do you feel comfortable sharing the price of the 6-month coaching program, or is that something you kind of do on a call?
Yeah, it's something that I definitely do on a call.
Okay, perfect. Amazing. So is there anything else, birthday girl, that you would like to share? A little take home message
um, I
aside
think
from,
the first thing that's like coming up actually right now that's coming through that I want to share with everybody, and it doesn't matter wherever you're at in your life or on your journey, is ask yourself, what is one small courageous decision that I can make today that's going to move me forward tomorrow? That's it.
mm, I love that.
And if you
I,
really tune in, like, and really tune into that,
yeah,
um, you'll know. Your soul will know. And
I
it's like
love
just
that.
trust it and go with it.
I feel like that should be like something that people write down, cut out, and like stick on their mirror or write on their mirror or something. Just, and I feel like you have lots of inspiring quotes and things like that. So I have a healing group as well that I mentioned to you already with Robin's Healing. So you're more than welcome to throw some inspiration out that way too. Um, and on your website, do you have a website?
I do. It's under construction right now. I'm going
Okay.
through a little bit of a rebrand. But I do have a Facebook. I do have Facebook. I do have Instagram. So it's just Whitley Jane. And I do have a Facebook group, the Get Inspired Community on
Okay.
Facebook.
And also, do you do lives as well, like with some inspiration that way for the day, or?
Yeah, every now and then I'll jump on and do some live videos. I definitely have a whole stream of videos to my YouTube channel as well as inside the Get Inspired Community Facebook group. I've got tons of videos and free resources for you guys.
Cool. And you said that you used to do interviews or you used to have something like a podcast or right?
Yeah, yeah, totally. I have the Get Inspired show where I just would share my own insights and different things for you guys. But I also interviewed a lot of other individuals, a lot of entrepreneurs, change makers, and it's yeah, just a lot of amazing talks on there with other people who share incredible things. So
Wonderful. So you have like tons of stuff.
I do.
Derek says, happy birthday. Amanda
Aw.
says, happy birthday. Pauline says, happy birthday, Sagittarius.
Aw, thank you so
And
much,
hello,
guys.
beautiful, happy birthday.
Thank
So I'm
you.
not going to take up your birthday time. And I really, really appreciate you coming on here and sharing all of your knowledge. And definitely check out all Whitley's stuff. She has a lot, so it might take some time to go through all of it. But I would say absolutely sign up for that masterclass because if you're even slightly considering something with her, that would be probably the best opportunity, I would say. Would you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I will do that literally as soon as I get off of here so that when people watch this, they have all your info. Okay.
Amazing. Thank you so much,
You're
Robin. This was
welcome.
amazing. And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and all the beautiful birthday wishes. Thanks.
Bye.